All right, number 4. Past experiences, present, past, or possible future experience. So you can visit these aspects. The future aspect is only a possible future because you're going into it. It's kind of like going down a highway. You can make choices, so you can go down this highway as opposed to that highway, or as opposed to go straight. You have that choice. That is called free will. But you can get down there and you can see what the possible futures are. And from my experience, we do this subconsciously and don't even realize it. That way we can direct our lives to accomplish life missions. We're not just here to, roll dice and hope we get a good experience. We use the astral consciously or subconsciously. I've seen things. Uh, I've had experiences that I remembered. Story time where it was a very well, okay, so here's the thing. I know I do this a lot. Where do I start? Let's start from the beginning. I was walking outside one day. It was a hot summer day. And I looked over at my basil plant. Now, the basil plant, for some reason, I decided to scatter seeds from the basil into the pot and didn't, what I call curate, take out all the lesser plants. I let it all grow. There must have been like 50 basil plants growing in there. It was a crazy little situation. I was like, what the heck? But that's never what I usually do. And then when I looked at it, I realized, oh my God, I had seen this like 3 months ago. This one in a trillion situations, I had already seen it 3 months ago. It looked a little different and it felt a little different. But I had been there before. I had been to the future, planning my life's goal 3 months out, at least 3 months out. Now, I've seen things at a larger distance. I'm trying to scale that, like how long do we plan our life out? I'm not sure. It's at least 3 months for me. And I've seen that 3-month scale a few times already. Subconsciously, I went out there, I saw it, I came back, totally forgot about it until I'd seen it 3 months after that, which is probably good, right? That's where the veil comes in, because if I had come back and consciously remembered it, I probably would have changed things unintentionally and not wound up at that destination. So, but that was a validation that I had done that and that I was looking out after myself and seeing how life, the paths upon which I could go on, and it made me feel better that it just wasn't all rolling the dice. And time and space are fluid there. I don't really like to use that term, but again, here's your time again. Okay, maybe this is your life. What else? Do I have something longer even? Okay, so here's a few. Okay, so here's your timeline. Maybe the middle one is your life, but you can go way out here if you want, and way over there if you want, or even beyond that, you can go into the deep past. Hey, check out Roman times or Egyptian times, or it's all there. It's there also in the astral. So you're not going to go to the physical place. You're going to go to the astral component of that place, which is more interactive, because they can see you, they can talk to you, even though they're speaking Latin, let's say, and you're speaking English, where they will have no idea what you were talking about if it was in the physical. It's telepathic, and so you can have a conversation with them and they can have a conversation with you. And since it's going to be about alignment, these people that you're going to be talking to have some kind of alignment with you. It's very likely to be a past self if you did have a past self in that time. because you're going to be most aligned with that guy or woman than just anybody else if you went to a specific area or a time. Uh, Experience, let's see what my notes say. You can potentially observe past events. Yeah, you can see what past events look like. You can see possible past events because the past is also possible too, where you could have went. What World War II could have looked like if it was a little different, just a few different decisions or a few different key people in key situations, totally changes the outcome of the whole war and it totally changes history. Just a couple, sometimes just a couple of different words to a significant leader is enough to totally change the whole war or history at a large, especially the further you go back in time. Let's see, glimpse potential future timelines. Yes, of course, we just went over that. And yeah, you can, and your position in the multiverse is based on possible pasts and possible presents. So if there was a possible you, or I know it gets complicated, there's or other versions of yourself in other probable realities doing whatever they have come there to do. Now I've seen this too, and leave yourself open, man, because although you may be a man, they may not be. Right? It's still you. And it could be a reality that is almost looks exactly like this. Oh, maybe it could even be this. I have heard, and I have some, at least anecdotal experience with myself from, I haven't validated it yet, that there are probable me's that have incarnated into this basic timeline. It looks exactly like this time, but it might not be. And I haven't validated it. I try and get names and places and things, stuff that I can look, especially with the internet and AI the way it is, I can track down a lot. All right, names and places and just the vaguest things that you see off in the distance are real good. Names can be a little tricky. You think not, but I've looked up names and there's nothing. So it's either I got the name wrong or possibly it was hallucination or possibly it was in another possible realm where that actually was a thing, but not in this realm. So I couldn't, I didn't find it. So what is all this about? Why? Because this gives you a clarity on life situations. This gives you clarity on how you do things. This gives you clarity on where you came from and what you're doing and really where you stand, which we try and get just as Homo sapiens, right? We're looking at all the people, they have all this stuff. Oh God, I feel jealous. Why can't I do that? Why can't I have that? And then, oh, look at that guy. Oh God, I'm glad I'm not him, man. Maybe I'm not doing too bad after all. We try and gauge ourselves and where we stand. And when you start to really get into the multiverse, you'll realize where you stand. You might be surprised at how good you're doing or how bad you're doing. Um, and you'll be able to make more informed decisions in your life because you'll have a much better God, much better understanding of where you are and where you come from in your timeline. Focus on I'm looking at my notes again, and tend to focus on a specific question. This is true too. So you're going to want to focus on a specific question that you have about your life. Why you're not making the kind of money you want to. Why, that's a common one. Why your life isn't happy right now. Try not to be too vague about it and try and ask your higher self. your highest self. Again, don't put that out to just anybody, because just anybody will answer you, and you don't want that. It's just like yelling in a subway. You going up to a stranger and say, "Why did my life turn out the way it is?" And they'll say, "Maybe because you're a fool," and then just walk off, right? That's not a real answer, and it's not helpful. But you can get that in the astral too. So ask your higher self, ask whoever you feel most comfortable asking. I don't usually ask angels because I don't have any verification on what their perspective is. I don't know what their perspective is. I know my higher self. I know, yeah. And even that, even everything that I hear and see and take in, is information for me. I don't just do it because a lot of people have a thing that if it's information from the astral plane, it's golden. Do it, right? Um, like people be playing with the Ouija board. Don't do that because you're just asking anybody to show up. But and so you'll get answers all over the board, and then you just do them because you think they're on the other side and they have some kind of magic ability to see into everything and know everything. Boy, the people on the other side are just as dumb, just as malignant, just as nearsighted and farsighted as anybody else anywhere else. That's why people get like this over here. Especially, probably that's just the thing with this world, right? We don't specialize in anything here. We specialize in nothing. That's our specialty. But the Earth is jack of all trades, baby. It's everywhere and everything all at once, all the time, and that's what you'll get. So focus it on people you trust out in the astral. Number 5, practice conscious creation and manifestation. Probably one of the most important things you're going to have to do with the astral. And that is your ability to create things in the astral. And you can create anything you want within your imagination. It will either appear as a hallucination or as an actual astral thing. Difficult to explain what is the difference between an astral thing and a hallucination, but let's just go with that right now. So I brought this up before. Um, you can imagine things and they will appear in the astral and they will act pretty much upon your expectations. So I got into the astral at one point and I thought I had my old car over to my left. I think I was looking at pictures of that the other day, and that's where it came from. And I was like, "Oh, there's my old car. Wow. I wonder if that's really here at the astral. Is that its component in the astral, or is that just me?" And I was like, "Well, okay. Well, I know how to figure this out." I looked at the clouds. I looked at the trees a bit. Right? You get your attention someplace else, and then you look back, and it was totally gone. I've done this with a lot of things. And that's manifestational creation. That's what you're creating. You're creating your thoughts become things instantly there. It's not like here where you have a big delay. And the delay is a protection, right? You don't want to think about your health. And then you're like, wow, I don't want to get a heart attack. And then you're like, I'm killing them. There's a delay. You have to put a lot into it in order to have that coronary, right? Or anything, or have that $1,000,000, right? He's like, why can't I just think about having $1,000,000 and just have $1,000,000? The same protection went into the nasty things as it does into the positive things. You're just going to have to do what you have to do to overcome that. It's not like that in the astral at all. It's just instant. You do have some protections that will come into play for a lot of things, things that you intend in your higher self, so that you won't just kind of go crazy in the astral. There has to be some kind of a limit of your bandwidth in order for you to have the experiences that are beneficial to you. And your higher self will focus that, and you will focus that. Your subconscious kind of focuses it as well. So you can hone your manifestation skills. You can go in there and say, you know what, I would like to see um, and I've done this. I would like to see a bar of gold, and then, doop, right, and then it's on the table, the bar of gold, and I'm like, wow, that looks really real, right? I'd like to see like the 99.999% pure thing on it, and then it had that. Okay, that's interesting. And I picked it up and I was like, I wonder if I could bring this back to the physical. Can you do that? If I really, really want to do that, can I bring it back to the physical? And you couldn't do that. But there are other ways to hone your manifestation skills, because then when you do hone your manifestation skills, it's not just about things, it's about your experience that you can have. And you can have better experiences and go do better things, even though you have these questions about you want to go to other planets or you want to visit past lives and stuff like that. But what kind of experience are you going to have when you do these things? That's where your manifestational properties come into consideration. Always stay on the positive. Always intend for positive. Always expect it to come out positive. Let's see. Clearly visualize your desired outcome. That helps too. That will get you to pin down exactly what you want. So if you want to go to Cape Cod, and you know what that looks like, picture it, and then you'll go there. And probably, honestly, a lot of times for me, I don't go to the physical, I go to the astral component of that, which is a lot more interactive, like I said. Let's see. This trains your consciousness for real world manifestation. Oh, that's true. Yeah. The law of attraction thing and all that stuff. This trains you how to use your consciousness and where to put it and what. Because where you put your consciousness is what's going to. The universe is always going to try and prove you right. So if you say you can't do it, or if you say you can do it, you're going to be proven right one way or another. So, yeah, it will hone that skill. So when you get out to the astral and you say, this is going to be a crummy experience, boom, it's going to be a crummy experience. And then you're going to be like, why do I think that? No, and I am not doing that anymore. Right? And that's a growing experience. It works very well, because there it works instantly, and here it works slowly. That will help you to perfect your ability to imagine, perfect your ability to visualize. Now, when we were kids, not everybody's good with visualization, but when we were kids, we used our imagination all the time. But we got talked out of that, and they tried to make us more logical. And imagination is where it's at, especially when it's about creating things, because it's limited to your imagination. That's the limit. So if that's the limit, you need to expand that if you want to have more possibilities. Just right out there. And I'm doing that right now. Right? I'm still trying to expand my possibilities, my imagination, because I've been so logical and so mind oriented for so long and so forcefully, that expanding my imagination back to something like it was when I was a child was like, right? It's not easy. When I was a kid, it was like, yes, I'm on the moon. I got a house there. And then when you get older, you're like, well, there's no oxygen there. And even if there was, you wouldn't want a house there, because then you'd have no electricity. All this logic nonsense. Let your mind go sometimes. Just play. Learn how to play again, because it's your life, and your imagination is part of it. be okay with that. Yeah. A big part of that is to imagine the perfect version of things. The Greeks used to have a belief that there was always a perfect version in something like the astral. It's where the word icon comes from. So let's maybe I should have something better here than pens, but so there was an icon for this pen, and it was the perfect version of it. That's what they believed. So there was a perfect, this pen, this specific pen in all the universe had an icon for it, and it was perfect. It didn't have text missing on it. It wasn't dirty. It didn't have eraser stuff on the end of it. It was perfect. I don't see that as the case in the astral. Everything, well, this pen probably doesn't have it, but something else here has it. And the sofa has it. This sofa has, I've seen this sofa has an astral component that looks exactly like it. Doesn't have, it's not iconic, it's not perfect. It just is what it is. But your imagination can create the iconic, perfect version of it, and you should use that to imagine and envision your perfect relationships, because this is going to push you and your imagination towards that, and your most beneficial, most perfect, most awesome, successful outcome, right? You could dial it back into something logical, but you can also play in that space where it's not logical, and it's great. It's still great, and it will help you in so many other ways. So imagine your perfect project coming together, and you can ask your higher self, what would it look like right when you're in the astrals? What would it look like for my creative project to come together? What would it look like for me to be in this amazing career that I'm thinking about going in? What would it look like for my relationship to be everything that I want it to be? That's going to be really helpful. Sometimes that question is more helpful than asking, what do I need to do to fix this? Seeing it like it is so much more helpful for me than seeing it what I would like it to be. I know what it is, but seeing it what I would like it to be usually is so much more helpful. And you can visualize that. When you get your imagination going, you can visualize that, but your subconscious can visualize a lot of it too. But in the astral, your higher self can carry that to the ends of the universe, expand greatly on it, and be much more accurate at it. So we covered a lot of things. We covered talking with our guides, visiting other planets, galaxies, the moon, healing we talked about. We talked about glimpsing other timelines and other realities, practicing manifestation, the frontier of infinite possibilities, right? The whole thing. And it is absolutely mind-blowing and incredible. What one of these, put down below which one of these or one of your own amazing, incredible, earth-shattering things that you have experienced or would like to experience in the astral. Put it down below, because it makes it more likely that you're going to get it, and it makes it more likely that you're going to experience it here in the physical or in the astral. Put it down below. Remember to hit the like button, because you know you want to, and subscribe, and we'll come back. I think it's going to be more like Sundays now, maybe Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, somewhere around that. The Wednesday thing wasn't working out so well. Nobody was watching on Wednesdays. Nobody likes. Well, anyway, okay. So put those comments down below, and I'll see you next weekend.